Have you ever wondered how your message travels from your phone to someone halfway across the world in just seconds? Or why your internet feels lightning fast at home, but crawls to a halt when you're trying to stream a movie during peak hours? The answer lies in understanding the incredible variety of internet connections that power our digital world. Most people think the internet is just the internet, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Behind every click, every stream, every video call, there's a complex web of technologies working together to move your data across continents. Some connections use copper wires older than your grandparents, while others beam signals through space at the speed of light. Some share bandwidth with your entire neighborhood, while others give you a dedicated pipeline straight to the digital highway. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to break down every major internet connection type that exists today. We'll explore how each one works, what makes them fast or slow, and why choosing the right connection could be the difference between seamless streaming and endless buffering. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how your data travels from your device to the rest of the world, and you'll never look at your internet connection the same way again. But here's what makes this even more interesting. I've spent weeks researching and testing these connection types, diving deep into the technical details that most people never see. I'll show you real-world performance data, explain why some connections cost more than others, and reveal which technologies are quietly being phased out while others are just getting started. Let's start with the grandfather of home internet connections. Dial-up internet emerged as the first widespread way for regular people to access the internet from their living rooms. This technology became available to consumers in the early 1990s, when internet service providers began offering dial-up access through existing telephone networks. The concept behind dial-up is surprisingly simple yet ingenious. Your computer connects to the internet using a device called a modem, which plugs directly into your standard telephone jack. When you want to go online, the modem literally dials a phone number provided by your internet service provider. You can actually hear this happening, that distinctive screeching and beeping sound, as the two modems negotiate their connection settings. Once connected, your modem converts digital data from your computer into analog audio signals that can travel over telephone lines. At the other end, your internet provider's modem converts these audio signals back into digital data and routes them to the broader internet. It's like having a conversation in a language only modems understand, with your data translated back and forth between digital and analog formats. The major limitation of dial-up becomes immediately obvious when you try to use it. Since the connection uses your telephone line, you can't make or receive phone calls while you're online. You have to choose between internet access and phone access, which created plenty of family arguments in the early days of home internet. But the speed limitations are even more frustrating. Dial-up connections max out at 56 kilobits per second under perfect conditions, but real-world speeds typically fall between 40 and 50 kilobits per second. To put that in perspective, downloading a single 3-minute song would take about 15 minutes on a good day. Watching a video online was essentially impossible, and even loading a web page with a few images could take several minutes. The high latency makes dial-up feel even slower than the raw numbers suggest. Latency measures how long it takes for your request to reach its destination and come back, and dial-up connections often experience delays of 100 to 200 milliseconds or more. Despite these severe limitations, dial-up served as the foundation that introduced millions of people to the internet. Today, dial-up still exists in remote areas where more modern internet options simply aren't available or affordable. The next major breakthrough came with digital subscriber line technology. DSL became commercially available in the United States during the mid-1990s, with major rollouts beginning around 1998 from telecommunications companies. The technology was revolutionary because it provided an always-on internet connection that didn't interfere with your telephone service. The secret behind DSL lies in frequency separation. Voice telephone calls use only a small portion of the frequency spectrum available on copper telephone lines. DSL technology uses the higher frequency bands that voice calls don't touch, allowing both internet data and phone conversations to travel over the same line simultaneously without interfering with each other. In your home, DSL requires a special modem and small filters on your phone jacks to keep the high-frequency data signals separate from low-frequency voice signals. On the provider's end, your DSL modem connects to equipment at the telephone company's central office, which then routes your internet traffic to the broader network. Most residential DSL connections use asymmetric digital subscriber line, or ADSL, where download speeds are significantly faster than upload speeds. This asymmetric design makes sense for typical home internet use, where people download much more data than they upload. DSL speeds vary dramatically depending on how far your home sits from the telephone company's central office. The copper wire signal degrades over distance, so homes closer to the central office enjoy faster speeds, while those farther away see reduced. Typically delivers download speeds between 3 and 25 megabits per second, with some newer implementations reaching up to 50 megabits per second. Upload speeds are much lower, usually usually ranging from 512 kilobits per second to 3 megabits per second. The latency performance of DSL connections is much better than dial-up, typically ranging from 10 to 60 milliseconds. This improvement makes activities like streaming video calls, and online gaming practical for the first time on a home internet connection. DSL works best for small households in areas where cable internet isn't available but telephone infrastructure exists. The technology offers several advantages, including affordable pricing, wide accessibility in areas with existing phone lines, and consistent speeds since each connection gets its own dedicated line to the central office rather than sharing bandwidth with neighbors. However, DSL has notable drawbacks that become more apparent as internet demands increase. Performance drops significantly with distance from the central office. Upload speeds remain limited compared to downloads, and overall speeds lag behind newer technologies like cable and fiber. Many DSL providers have stopped expanding their networks in favor of more advanced alternatives. Moving beyond terrestrial connections, satellite internet takes a completely different approach by beaming your data through space. Instead of relying on cables buried underground or strung on poles, satellite internet uses spacecraft orbiting Earth to relay your internet traffic. The basic concept involves three key components working together. Your home receives a satellite dish that points toward the sky, a satellite in orbit above Earth, and a ground station connected to the internet backbone. When you send data, your dish transmits a signal up to the satellite, which relays it down to the ground station. The ground station processes your request and sends the response back through the same path. Traditional satellite internet systems use large satellites positioned in geostationary orbit, sitting about 22,000 miles above Earth's equator. These satellites remain fixed over the same spot on Earth's surface, making them reliable targets for ground-based dishes. However, the enormous distance creates significant challenges for internet performance. The long journey your data must travel creates noticeable delays in responsiveness. Even at the speed of light, signals take roughly 500 milliseconds to make the round trip between your home and a geostationary satellite. Modern satellite internet systems have revolutionized the technology by using low Earth orbit satellites positioned much closer to our planet, typically around 300 to 1,200 miles above the surface. These newer systems deploy hundreds or thousands of small satellites working together to provide coverage, with each satellite moving quickly across the sky as it orbits. The reduced distance dramatically improves performance. Low-orbit satellite systems can achieve latency similar to terrestrial connections, typically between 20 and 40 milliseconds under good conditions. Traditional geostationary satellite internet typically provides download speeds between 12 and 25 megabits per second, with very limited upload capacity. Modern low-orbit systems can deliver 50 to 200 megabits per second or more, with some premium plans reaching speeds that rival cable and fiber connections. Satellite internet serves a crucial role in connecting areas where terrestrial infrastructure simply doesn't exist or isn't economically viable. Remote homes, farms, rural communities, boats, recreational vehicles, and emergency response teams rely on satellite connectivity when other options fail. The technology faces unique challenges that terrestrial connections don't encounter. Weather conditions like heavy rain or snow can disrupt satellite signals, a phenomenon known as rain fade, and the equipment costs tend to be higher than other connection types. Fixed wireless internet represents another approach to delivering broadband without laying cables to every home. This technology uses focused radio signals to create point-to-point connections between transmission towers and customer locations. The concept gained traction in the late 1990s and early 2000s as wireless technology improved and became more cost-effective. Fixed wireless systems work by establishing a direct line-of-sight connection between a transmission tower and a receiver at your location. Internet service providers install broadcasting equipment on tall towers or building rooftops, typically connecting these transmission points to high-speed fiber internet backbones. At your home or business, a technician mounts a small directional antenna with a clear view of the nearest transmission tower. The antenna captures radio signals from the tower and feeds them through an Ethernet cable to an indoor modem or router, providing standard internet access throughout your location. Unlike mobile wireless connections that work while moving, fixed wireless requires the receiver to remain stationary and maintain its alignment with the transmission tower. Performance characteristics of fixed wireless fall somewhere between DSL and cable internet in most cases. Download speeds typically range from 25 to 100 megabits per second, with some newer deployments reaching 300 to 500 megabits per second, and latency usually measures between 20 and 70 milliseconds. The line of sight requirement creates both advantages and limitations for fixed wireless deployment. In rural and suburban areas with clear terrain, fixed wireless can deliver broadband service to locations where running cables would be prohibitively expensive. However, hills, trees, buildings, and other obstacles can block radio signals and make fixed wireless impractical. Weather sensitivity affects fixed wireless performance, particularly during heavy rain or snowstorms that can attenuate radio signals. Unlike satellite internet, fixed wireless doesn't require expensive specialized equipment, but installation does require professional antenna alignment and site survey to ensure reliable connectivity. Fixed wireless works best as a middle ground solution for areas that need better performance than DSL can provide, but don't have access to cable or fiber infrastructure. It offers faster deployment than laying new cables while providing more consistent performance than traditional satellite systems. From the ancient dial-up tones that once filled our homes to the lightning-fast fiber optic cables that power today's streaming revolution, we've journeyed through the complete evolution of internet connectivity. Each technology we've explored tells the story of human ingenuity, pushing against the boundaries of what's possible, transforming how we communicate, work, and live. What's remarkable is that many of these technologies still coexist today. While some homes enjoy gigabit fiber speeds that can download entire movies in seconds, others still rely on DSL connections over copper lines installed decades ago. Rural communities depend on satellite beams from space, while urban areas increasingly turn to 5G towers for wireless freedom. Understanding these connection types isn't just technical knowledge, it's the key to making smarter decisions about your digital life. Whether you're choosing an internet plan, troubleshooting slow speeds, or simply trying to understand why your video call keeps cutting out, you now have the knowledge to diagnose what's happening behind the scenes. The internet isn't magic, it's engineering. And now you know exactly how your data makes its incredible journey from your device to anywhere in the world. The next time you click send on a message or start streaming a video, you'll appreciate the remarkable infrastructure working tirelessly to make it all possible.